Section 2 reads, we the jury in this case, having found defendant guilty of murder, further find and specify that the defendant, Terrell Edwards, did have a firearm on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense.
In the late hours of October 9th, 2023, a joyful moment turned to heartbreak when Amanda S. Williams, a vibrant 46-year-old woman full of life, ambition, and dreams, was shot dead by the very man she had just agreed to marry. Just hours earlier, her fiancé, Terrell Edwards, had proposed to her. The room had filled with laughter, love, and promises of a future together. Yet, in a tragic twist, that same future was violently ripped away in the very place that was supposed to be her sanctuary. At 11:30 p.m., the phone rang in the Warrenville Heights Police Department. On the other end was Terrell Edwards, his voice cold and trembling as he confessed to a crime that no one saw coming. "I just shot my fiancé," he said, urgency in his voice. It was a statement that would send shockwaves through the community, and it set the stage for the heartbreaking scene that law enforcement would find upon arrival. Inside the apartment, Amanda lay lifeless on the floor, her body covered with gunshot wounds. The woman who had been full of dreams, plans, and love was now gone. Her tragic death left a gaping hole in the lives of her children, grandchildren, and the community who knew her as a compassionate, hard-working woman with a heart full of love. But one burning question lingered in the air. Why did Terrell, a man who had spent over 6 years with Amanda, suddenly turn violent? How could the same person who had proposed to her just hours before now stand accused of taking her life? What led to this brutal transformation in what appeared to be a loving relationship? Amanda's family, friends, and even the community she helped build through her beauty salon and online presence were left searching for answers. Was it a moment of rage, a misunderstanding spiraled out of control? Or was there something darker at play, something hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect relationship? This story dives deep into the mystery of Amanda's death, the twisted dynamics of her relationship with Terrell, and the shocking details that slowly unraveled in the aftermath. As we unfold the events that led up to that tragic night, we'll examine the chilling details of their relationship, the secrets that were buried, and the heartbreaking consequences of domestic violence. Amanda's story is not just one of loss. It's a cautionary tale of trust, betrayal, and the devastating effects of unaddressed emotional turmoil. If you're moved by Amanda's story, if you feel the pain of those left behind, and if you want to know more about the hidden truths that lurk beneath the surface, subscribe to True Crime Journal now. And while you're here, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. Let's raise awareness together, because stories like Amanda's need to be heard, not forgotten. Amanda S. Williams was born on April 18, 1977, in Cleveland, Ohio. From the very beginning, it was clear she had a bright spirit and a strong sense of purpose. Raised in a supportive family environment, she was surrounded by love, hard work, and a deep sense of community. Her parents, George L. Williams and Jewel Lewis, instilled in her the values of determination and resilience. Growing up in a close-knit family, Amanda learned early on the importance of staying grounded and giving back to those around her. Amanda attended Shaw High School, where she excelled both academically and socially. She graduated in 1995, armed with the knowledge and ambition to pursue her dreams. But Amanda was never the type to just sit back and wait for things to happen. She always had a vision for her future. After high school, she took the next step toward that future by enrolling at Cleveland State University, where she earned a bachelor's degree. With a strong foundation in education, she was ready to take on the world. But while academics were important, Amanda's heart always lay in the world of beauty and fashion. Even as a child, she had an eye for style, always experimenting with hairstyles and learning the ins and outs of makeup. Whether she was styling her friend's hair or testing out new looks on herself, Amanda was constantly drawn to the transformative power of beauty. It wasn't just about making someone look good. It was about making them feel good. This passion for beauty and self-expression would soon become the cornerstone of her career. As Amanda entered adulthood, she decided to turn her love for beauty into a professional career. She honed her skills as a hairstylist, becoming known for her precision, creativity, and ability to transform her clients. Word spread quickly about her talents, and before long, Amanda had built a solid reputation in the Cleveland area. She didn't just cut hair, she created art. From intricate braids to elegant updos, Amanda's work stood out and her clients were loyal. But Amanda's ambitions didn't stop there. She was determined to build something bigger for herself. She dreamed of owning her own salon, a place where people could feel welcomed, pampered, and empowered. Her dream came true in 2023 when she opened Elam Mode Styles in University Heights, a trendy area near downtown Cleveland. The salon quickly became a hit, attracting a diverse clientele who appreciated Amanda's skill, professionalism, and warm personality. Her hard work and dedication paid off as her business flourished, giving her a sense of accomplishment and pride. Amanda's personal life was just as vibrant and fulfilling as her professional life. She was a proud mother to Tyler M. Williams and Trist W. Beckley, two children who meant the world to her. Her role as a mother was one of the most important parts of her life, and she embraced it wholeheartedly. Amanda was also a loving grandmother to her grandson, Tylen M. Williams, whom she adored. Family was at the center of everything she did, and she poured her heart into raising her children and providing for them. Her social media presence was another way Amanda connected with the world. She used her platforms to share more than just photos of her work. It was a space where she could offer motivational messages, empowering words, and beauty tips to inspire others. Amanda believed deeply in the power of self-improvement and personal growth, and she encouraged her followers to pursue their own dreams and rise above challenges. Her Instagram was filled with uplifting content, from success stories to behind-the-scenes glimpses of her work. It was clear that Amanda wasn't just about making people look good on the outside. She wanted to help them feel good on the inside, too. Her vibrant personality shone through her online presence, and she became a source of positivity for many. Whether she was posting about a new hairstyle, sharing her latest entrepreneurial success, or simply offering words of encouragement, Amanda always had a smile and a kind word for everyone. It wasn't just about the business. It was about the community she was building, both online and in her real life. She was a woman who truly believed that the more you give, the more you receive, and she lived her life by this principle every day. Amanda's journey wasn't just about achieving success. It was about living with passion, sharing love, and being an inspiration to those around her. Her energy, her drive, and her genuine care for others made her a beloved figure in both her professional world and her personal circle. As she continued to grow her business and reach more people, Amanda's future seemed as bright as ever, filled with limitless potential. But as we will see, no one could have anticipated the devastating turn her life would take. Amanda met Terrell Edwards in a way that seemed almost destined. Through mutual friends at a gathering in Cleveland, their connection sparked almost immediately. Terrell, a 41-year-old hospital worker, was easy to talk to, charming, with a confident smile that lit up any room he walked into. He wasn't just handsome. He had that type of charisma that made people gravitate toward him. Amanda, ever the social butterfly, found herself drawn to his energy and kindness. It wasn't long before they became inseparable. At first, their relationship seemed like the perfect match. They bonded over shared values, dreams of success, and a mutual love for adventure. Terrell was respectful, affectionate, and always there when Amanda needed him. They posted pictures together on social media, attending family gatherings, enjoying getaways, and sharing loving captions. To everyone around them, they were the couple that seemed to have it all. The kind of love you could envy from the outside. For the first few years, Amanda thought she had found everything she had ever dreamed of. A partner who encouraged her ambitions, celebrated her victories, and promised to stand by her side through thick and thin. They traveled, enjoyed each other's company, and often shared their milestones with their ever-growing online audience. To her friends and family, Amanda's happiness was evident. But as the years passed, the gloss of their perfect relationship started to dull. Small signs began to appear, things Amanda tried to ignore or convince herself were just fleeting issues. Terrell's behavior began to shift. What once seemed like harmless teasing or miscommunication started to feel heavier. Amanda noticed the emotional toll it was taking on her. Those little sarcastic comments about her appearance or work ethic were becoming more frequent. At first, she tried to brush them off. thinking it was just stress or frustration on his part. But deep down, she could feel the unease creeping in. The first real sign of trouble came during a disagreement over something as trivial as dinner plans. What should have been a simple discussion spiraled into an argument that left Amanda in tears. Terrell's anger seemed to grow quicker and more explosive, while Amanda was left feeling confused and hurt. Over time, the arguments became more frequent, and the affection they once shared began to feel forced. The physical affection, once overflowing, dwindled, and Amanda started to notice that she was withdrawing emotionally from him. She would find herself alone, wondering if something was wrong with her, if she was missing something, or if maybe it was all in her head. As months passed, Terrell's temper became harder to ignore. The emotional manipulation began to take a more apparent form. He would accuse Amanda of being too much, too demanding of his time, or too independent. She would sometimes catch him staring at her with a coldness she hadn't seen before, and on occasion, his words would cut deeper than they ever had. Despite these unsettling changes, Amanda, ever hopeful and nurturing, believed in the power of love and communication. She thought that with time and effort, they could work through these issues. After all, didn't every couple go through rough patches? So they tried therapy, they attended couples counseling in an attempt to fix what was broken. Amanda hoped that the professional help would bring them back to the foundation they once had, the carefree couple that laughed, loved, and dreamed together. But Terrell was distant during these sessions, often disengaged or even defensive. The therapist encouraged open, honest communication, but Terrell's commitment to the process felt half-hearted. He wasn't as invested in the idea of rebuilding as Amanda was. Still, Amanda held on, believing that it was just a phase, that things would get better with more time and understanding. But the cracks in their relationship were widening, and Amanda could no longer ignore the sinking feeling in her chest. In 2023, after over 6 years of being together, Terrell decided it was time to make things official. He proposed to Amanda in a moment that seemed to promise a new beginning. On social media, the announcement was met with joyous congratulations from friends and family, and Amanda's excitement was palpable. She posted pictures of her sparkling ring, her bright smile, and the couple's happy celebration. It was supposed to be the perfect moment, the beginning of a fresh chapter in their lives. But beneath the surface, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had been growing for months. Was she truly happy, or was she just pretending? As Terrell slipped the ring onto her finger, Amanda's mind raced. She loved him, or at least she thought she did. But was this love enough to ignore the growing tension in their relationship? The proposal was supposed to mark the start of their happily ever after, but Amanda couldn't stop wondering. Could this marriage save them, or would it end up sealing her fate in a way she couldn't yet comprehend? The world saw the joy of the engagement, but Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. It was as if she had married a version of Terrell who didn't exist anywhere outside of their shared fantasy. The perfect proposal was just another layer on a relationship that had already begun to crumble beneath the surface. The cracks weren't just in their relationship anymore, they were in Amanda's heart too. She had hoped for change, for things to improve, but deep down, she feared she was holding on to a love that was fading. The proposal may have marked a new chapter, but in Amanda's heart, a storm was brewing, and little did she know, the worst was yet to come. The night of October 9th, 2023 began like any other in the household of Amanda S. Williams and Terrell Edwards. But what should have been a peaceful evening quickly spiraled into something far more sinister. For weeks, tension had been building between the couple. The love that once seemed effortless had started to feel strained, the smiles replaced by silent glares, the words by bitter silences. Despite their best efforts, therapy sessions had failed to heal the wounds of their troubled relationship. It began innocently enough. A simple argument over text messages, the kind of trivial disagreement that might have been forgotten by morning. Terrell had been sitting on the couch, his phone in hand, when Amanda, noticing a message from a woman she didn't recognize, asked him about it. Terrell grew defensive, his tone sharp. "It's just a friend, Amanda," he said, trying to downplay the situation. But Amanda could feel the old familiar tension creeping in, like a dark cloud that never really lifted. "What do you mean, just a friend? We've been having issues and now you're still hiding things from me?" Amanda snapped, her voice rising. "I need to know what's going on, Terrell." The argument escalated quickly from there. Terrell's defensive attitude made Amanda feel like she wasn't being heard, and the more she tried to press for answers, the more Terrell dug in. His anger simmered, his responses sharp and cold. Amanda, exhausted by the constant push and pull, made an ultimatum. "Get out, Terrell." "I'm done with this," she demanded, standing up from the couch and walking toward the door. She wanted him to leave. The atmosphere had become toxic, and she couldn't take the emotional weight of it anymore. The love they once shared had become a battlefield, and she was done fighting. But Terrell wasn't ready to walk away. Not yet. He followed her, his voice rising in frustration. "You don't get to tell me what to do," he shouted, stepping in front of her, blocking her path. Amanda felt trapped. The space that once felt like home now felt suffocating. She wasn't the woman who would stand by and let her dignity be torn down anymore. She had tried for so long, giving everything she had to make the relationship work. But now, the emotional manipulation, the constant fights, and the fear creeping in made her see the reality. This wasn't love anymore. "I'm not going anywhere, Terrell. I've had enough," she said, her voice shaking with a mix of fear and determination. As the argument reached its peak, the atmosphere in the room grew thick with tension. Words became weapons, each sentence a strike, each accusation a wound. In his frustration, Terrell's temper began to flare. His anger wasn't just emotional anymore, it was physical. He began to raise his voice, his fists clenching. He wanted to leave, but it was clear now that he wanted to control how this ended. Then, in a flash, everything changed. Terrell claimed Amanda lunged at him with a knife. In his version of the events, she was aggressive, threatening, trying to hurt him. She had become the villain in his eyes, the one who pushed him to this breaking point. He alleged that, in his fear for his life, he grabbed his own gun and fired. Amanda, he said, was charging toward him, leaving him no other choice but to defend himself. But crucial pieces of evidence told a different story. When police arrived at the scene, they found Amanda lifeless, lying on the floor, her body covered with multiple gunshot wounds. The police didn't find the knife that Terrell had described. Instead, they found Amanda's phone, her blood-stained clothes, and the quiet echo of a life cut short. What they did find, however, were witness testimonies and surveillance footage that didn't match Terrell's story. As officers surveyed the scene, it became clear that Amanda had not posed an imminent threat. No knife had been found near her, no signs of a struggle in the areas Terrell had mentioned. The tension in the room, in the apartment, hung like a cloud. But it wasn't just between the two of them anymore. It was in the air, thick with the weight of Terrell's lie. Terrell Edwards called 911, and when the operator answered, he confessed, his voice shaking. "I shot her. I shot my fiancé." The words echoed in the phone, the confession tumbling out almost mechanically. He said he was sorry, but the damage was already done. The operator asked him to remain calm and confirm his location, but nothing could calm the situation. Amanda was gone, and Terrell was standing in the wreckage of his actions, holding the weight of a decision he would live with for the rest of his life. The officers who arrived on the scene quickly took control, following protocol. But even in that moment, as Terrell sat in the back of the squad car, his expression blank, it was clear that nothing could undo what had happened. The investigation into Amanda's death would continue, but what was clear now was that her life had been taken by the very man she had trusted and loved. Terrell Edwards, in a fit of rage and violence, had destroyed everything they once had. A tragic story of love turned to violence, one that would haunt those who knew Amanda forever. And as the truth began to surface, the real motive behind the murder would come into sharper focus. The courtroom was packed, filled with a sense of tension that was almost palpable. Terrell Edwards sat at the defendant's table, his face somber but composed. His legal team was ready to defend his actions, framing the shooting of Amanda S. Williams as an act of self-defense. The arguments began, and the air seemed to grow heavier with every word spoken. Terrell's defense lawyer began by painting a picture of the night Amanda was killed. He argued that Amanda had threatened Terrell during an intense argument, that she had grabbed a knife, and in a fit of fear for his life, Terrell was left with no choice but to shoot her. The The defense worked hard to establish a narrative where Terrell was a victim in the situation, claiming that Amanda's actions had made him feel cornered and defenseless. According to their version of events, he had shot Amanda in self-defense, but the prosecution was ready, and they were determined to expose the flaws in Terrell's story. Cassandra Wade, the prosecutor, was sharp and focused. She began her argument by pointing out the inconsistencies in Terrell's testimony. There was no physical evidence to support his claims of a knife attack. There were no cuts, bruises, or defensive wounds on Terrell, which would have been expected if he had truly been in a life-threatening struggle. The more she spoke, the clearer it became. The defense was not presenting a clear picture of what had really happened that night. The prosecution then presented key evidence that contradicted Terrell's version of events. They showed surveillance footage from the apartment, recorded just moments before the shooting. The video was damning. It clearly showed Amanda setting down a knife, a crucial moment that contradicted Terrell's claim that she had attacked him. In the footage, Amanda was not charging at him or posing a threat in any way. Instead, she was several feet away from Terrell when he pulled the gun and fired. The video painted a picture of a calm Amanda, not someone about to launch an attack. But the most emotional moment of the trial came when Tyler M. Williams, Amanda's daughter, took the stand. She had lived through the pain of losing her mother, and now she had to confront the man who had taken her life. Her voice shook, but her words were clear as she spoke about her mother's character. Tyler shared stories of Amanda's nurturing side, her strength, and the loving, supportive woman she had always been. She painted a portrait of a woman who had given everything for her family, who had been a rock for those she loved. Tyler also didn't hesitate to speak about Terrell's behavior. She told the court about the emotional abuse her mother had suffered at his hands for years, the constant manipulation, and the controlling nature that Terrell had shown behind closed doors. Tyler's testimony was a powerful reminder of who Amanda was and what she had been subjected to in her relationship with Terrell. Medical evidence also came into play. The coroner's report confirmed that Amanda had been shot multiple times at close range. The bullet wounds were consistent with the type of injury one would expect from an execution-style shooting, not a chaotic self-defense situation. The defense had argued that Amanda had attacked Terrell with a knife, but the medical examiner's testimony did not align with this claim. As the trial continued, the prosecution methodically dismantled Terrell's defense. The evidence was overwhelming, and with each passing day, it became clear that Terrell's actions had not been an act of self-defense, but rather an act of murder. Finally, after several days of testimony, the jury began deliberating. The room was filled with anticipation as everyone waited for the verdict. The tension was almost unbearable. Was it self-defense, as Terrell claimed, or was it cold-blooded murder? The jury returned after several hours. Guilty. Terrell Edwards was found guilty of second-degree murder, felony assault, and domestic violence. The judge, after delivering the verdict, sentenced him to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 24 years. There was no question of his remorse. Terrell had shown none throughout the trial. As Terrell was escorted out of the courtroom, there was a collective sense of relief from Amanda's family, even though the pain of their loss would never be fully healed. The justice they had fought for was finally delivered, but it came at the cost of a life, Amanda's life. The trial had revealed the truth, but for those who loved Amanda, the damage was already done. The pain of her absence would linger, but her legacy would live on in her children, her friends, and in the lives of everyone she had touched with her kindness and strength. As we reflect on Amanda's story, we are reminded of the importance of listening to red flags in relationships. Trust is fragile, and when it's broken, the consequences can be devastating. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out for help. There is support, and there is strength in speaking out. Amanda's story teaches that silence only perpetuates pain, and the truth has the power to heal. If this story touched you, if it made you realize how dangerous silence can be, consider subscribing to True Crime Journal. Let's keep the conversation going and raise awareness about the dangers of domestic violence. And remember, if you or someone you love is in an abusive relationship, there is help. Don't let another person's silence become their sentence. Speak out, seek help, and stand strong.